We now know that banks and mortgage companies were indulging in all sorts of fraudulent practices to pump up their mortgage business. Many of the loans were extremely complex, and the terms hidden from borrowers. There were low teaser rates that would automatically reset to much higher payments after a few months. It was no accident that the most complex mortgages were sold to the least sophisticated buyers, especially in poor and minority neighborhoods like this one in South Central Los Angeles.
So as you go about your daily work and your daily business,
Congresswoman Maxine Waters has represented the district for 19 years in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Information.
You know, I've seen mortgages that were given to 70-year-old people who were on a fixed income, whose income was never going to increase, but that mortgage was going to reset within a few years. Where was that money going to come from? I've seen mortgages that I think are criminal.
Angelo Mozillo was the undisputed king of the U.S. subprime market. He is called the Golden Boy because of his permanent tan, and because at the height of the subprime real estate boom, he was making about $100 million a year.
Everybody wanted to own a piece of real estate to get into the game.
He became the darling of business magazines with a slew of fawning profiles of his rags to riches story. He always claimed that he was a friend to the poor and that his lending practices were helping scores of Americans attain the dream of home ownership.
It's one thing for him to say that he was a friend to the poor, but in the final analysis, when you see that these poor people are now in foreclosure, now cannot get loan modifications, now ending up on the streets, then certainly that defies how he could have been, you know, a friend to poor people.
Mozillo's company, Countrywide Financial, grew to become the biggest mortgage lender in the United States.
Call Countrywide. We never stop thinking about what you need. And that makes home buying easy. Really.
Countrywide was sold to Bank of America and almost immediately plunged in value. Angelo Mozillo was placed under investigation by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The SEC uncovered very damaging private emails in which Mozillo expressed his true feelings about the dangerous subprime mortgages he was peddling. He wrote, "In all my years in the business, I have never seen a more toxic product." At the same time, Mozillo was publicly reassuring all his investors and clients. Countrywide views the product as a sound investment for our bank and a sound financial management tool for consumers.
It does appear that there was a private view of the markets, and there was one that was espoused to borrowers, rating agencies, the investing public.
The SEC has now charged Mozillo with insider trading and securities fraud.
This is a warning. You need to get your money out the bank right now. I don't know everything. I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not a real estate expert. But we're on the verge of a real estate collapse and a great financial crisis worse than 2008. When I seen Bank of America was offering no down payment mortgages to low-income communities, I instantly thought of the clip I showed you in the beginning of this video. So, Bank of America is offering no down payment mortgages to low-income communities. We've seen this before though. No down payment, no credit score requirement, no closing costs, no mortgage insurance. There's basically no red tape. If you want a mortgage, you could have one. But why now? All of a sudden, Bank of America cares about racial inequality in the real estate market? All of a sudden, Bank of America cares about you? When has Bank of America ever cared about you? They're trying to sell you a house at the top of the market so you can get wrecked. As housing prices begin to fall, homes begin to stay on the market for longer periods of time, financial institutions like BlackRock begin to pull back from the market, offering mortgages willy-nilly seems like an act of desperation. I'm not a real estate expert, but I've been building my credit for 3 years, and I know that when you finance something, if your credit is bad, you will have to put down a larger down payment. But if you're offering a mortgage to someone with bad credit and no money down, you will most likely have a very high mortgage payment. One thing I learned about 2008 was variable rate mortgages. They're great, when the Fed has interest rates at 0, but as interest rates begin to rise, which is happening right now, their variable rate mortgages will reset with a higher monthly payment, which could become unaffordable. Low income people with high mortgage payments on top of everything else, high gas prices, high utility bills, high food prices. 50% of Americans don't even have $500 in savings and live one paycheck away from homelessness. One emergency, and they will have trouble paying their mortgage. What happens when they can't pay their mortgage? The banks begin to foreclose on the property. Same thing happened in 2008. People began to foreclose on their homes, which led to a flood of homes on the market, causing downward selling pressure. Those who could afford to live in their homes began to see the value of their property fall, causing them to sell due to negative equity. This cascading downward spiral of sell pressure began to cause liquidity issues with the banks. Lehman Brothers and Washington Mutual failed, and other banks had to be bailed out. When the market crashes this time, they're going to bail in. You need to get your money out the bank right now. The Pope has ordered all church funds to the Vatican Bank by October 1st. The bank panic of 1907, the stock market crash of 1929, and Black Monday 1987 all happened during the month of October. Gregory Mannarino has been sounding the alarm about a liquidity crisis, which will lead to a sovereign debt crisis and a dollar collapse. You need to take action to protect yourself, bet against the debt, become your own central bank, load up on precious metals and the right cryptos, have some cash on hand. Do not leave all your money in the bank, just enough to pay bills. Pull your money out the bank and pull your crypto off of exchanges, because shit is about to hit the fan.